Every time we see a patient, we're really trying to answer two big questions. The first is, what's actually wrong with this person? And the second is, okay, so what are we going to do about it? One question is all about diagnosis, and the other is all about management. Let's look at how these two really work together. Medical school often teaches clinical reasoning as this very neat step-by-step process. First, you figure out the diagnosis, and then you create a management plan. But in the real world, especially in a fast-paced setting like an emergency department, that's just not how it happens. These two lines of thinking run in parallel. Your diagnostic brain and your management brain are working at the same time, and they're constantly talking to each other from the moment the patient walks in. So expert decision-making really involves two very distinct but totally connected mental processes. Let's break down the difference between diagnostic and management reasoning. This table lays it out pretty clearly. For diagnostic reasoning, the goal is very focused. Find the one correct diagnosis. You're using inputs like symptoms, physical signs, labs, and imaging. Management reasoning, though, is a different beast. Its goal is to choose the best course of action when you're still not sure what's going on. It takes into account diagnostic possibilities, sure, but also patient values and resource limitations. And each process uses its own special cognitive tool. For diagnosis, we use something called an illness script. This is basically a mental model for a specific disease. It's how you recognize its pattern. It helps you answer that what is wrong question by narrowing down all the possibilities to find the right one. And for taking action, we use a management script. You can think of this as a mental playbook for a given clinical situation, like abdominal pain in a young woman. It's not just about what the problem is, it's a guide for what to do, especially when the diagnosis isn't crystal clear. To really see how these two scripts work together in practice, let's walk through a common clinical case. Okay, so a 17-year-old girl comes into a community emergency department overnight. She's had 16 hours of nausea, vomiting, and generalized abdominal pain. Instantly, the physician's illness script kicks in with a differential diagnosis. For a woman of reproductive age with this complaint, you immediately think of the most serious possibilities first: appendicitis, ectopic pregnancy, and ovarian torsion. Now, let's watch how the diagnostic and management tracks run in parallel. Within the first 5 minutes, the management script is already in action. An IV is in, fluids are running. At the same time, the diagnostic process is making that initial assessment. Is the patient sick or not sick? At the 15-minute mark, a bedside ultrasound, that's a diagnostic tool, shows no free fluid. This result immediately informs the management plan. A ruptured ectopic pregnancy is now much less likely, which means the workup can continue in the emergency department. Just 5 minutes after that, the initial labs are back. The pregnancy test is negative. Diagnostically, that rules out ectopic pregnancy completely. The management plan then adjusts again, this time based on the fact that her symptoms are starting to improve. But the real turning point comes 3 hours in. A CT scan finds a 5-centimeter ovarian cyst, but it can't rule out torsion. This creates a moment of real uncertainty, which triggers a critical management decision. The final call is to transfer her to a tertiary care center. That action was based entirely on management reasoning, not on a definitive diagnosis. This case is a great example of why you need clear strategies for when the diagnosis is still up in the air. Let's go over 5 ways that expert clinicians reduce the risk of harm in these situations. A really strong management script includes these strategies for dealing with uncertainty. This means giving specific return precautions, knowing when it's safe to defer diagnosis in low-risk patients, and also knowing when to act aggressively, even without a sure diagnosis. It also means creating follow-up plans that are concrete and easy to act on, and being ready to admit or transfer high-risk patients for observation. This quote about return precautions just says it all. Vague instructions like, "come back if it gets worse," are not helpful. Effective management means giving the patient concrete signs to watch for. It empowers them to be a part of their own safety net. So when you put all this together, what's the core takeaway? What's the main point of mastering both of these thinking processes? It really comes down to this. A patient's success is measured by their outcome, not just by how quickly we can name their disease. A strong management plan is the safety net that protects our patients, especially when a diagnosis is still unclear. And that really leaves us with one final thought. Just recognizing that management runs parallel to diagnosis is the first big step. The next is to actively build and refine those mental playbooks you use every day. So the question to ask yourself is, how can you strengthen your own management scripts?